Welcome back to the Reier on YouTube channel, where it is time for No Sleep TEAL, a program dedicated to discussion involving the National Football League surging Jacksonville Jaguars, division leading, AFC South leading Jacksonville Jaguars, just like we all anticipated a couple of Sundays ago after that fourth quarter against the Houston Texans. NBD, as the kids like to say. Ev, we had the Jags being here a couple of 3 weeks later, didn't we?
Yeah, that's definitely we definitely saw the beatdown on the Chargers coming,
Sure.
and then we never had a doubt about the Jaguars traveling to Nashville.
At all.
We weren't worried about that.
It's always been good vibes up there,
Yeah.
just good vibes.
Yeah, good vibes is a way to describe the energy in that stadium when I was there on Sunday.
Evan, by the way, as you see there on the show header, Evan got a W up in Nashville. He's had some tough trips up there in the past, but he and his boys made that drive up 65 from the Ham and got to enjoy that one pretty much start to finish, right?
Yeah, I mean, really, there wasn't a thing to make me worried or nervous throughout the entire game.
A field goal drive didn't have you shaking in your boots for the Titans to open the game?
No, I mean, that's the thing is like that's really the blemish that the defense had, right? I mean, after
that's
that,
what I mean. They dominated.
They played a perfect game, pretty much. That being said, they played a perfect game against a team that, after watching them in person, I am confused at how like teams like the Seahawks didn't blow them out, because that was a dejected team in a dejected environment. Like, we've been to some Jags games in some pretty rough years that, the atmosphere in the crowd is
relatable.
Yeah. Pretty rough. Like, it's not even like you hear groans, just silence, you could hear a pin drop in that place for the most part. Like, it was really, really rough to look at. I mean, I hate the Titans, but that even made me feel a little bit of sympathy for them because, it's just not good. That team is not very good. The Jaguars played a really clean game, which is the thing to focus on, was that they didn't, have a bunch of miscues. They didn't let the Titans have a look at hope in that game, really. It feels like that score is more representative of the fact that the Titans are just not a very good football team.
No, they're not. And to your point, though, the Jags did what they needed to do. And in a lot of situations like that in the past, they haven't necessarily taken advantage of that, especially knowing what's on the horizon for this team. Starting this Sunday here in Duval with the Indianapolis Colts paying a visit, also at 8-4. But a couple of teams that I would have thought after the Houston debacle, if the teams were trending one way or the other, and I think part of this is Indianapolis's schedule is kicked in pretty good, and is going to continue to kick in. I mean, when you look at the Colts, in addition to these two games, I think they've got the 49ers. I think they got the Seahawks on the road. So it's not going to get any easier for Indianapolis. But kind of joking earlier about we anticipated all this going into this matchup. We really didn't after Houston. And there was doomsday talk out in full force. And now there's an excitement, a buzz, again, with an Indianapolis team coming in that the Jags, as we know, right here in Jacksonville, have had a lot of success against.
Yeah, historically speaking, it's, the same deal as what we were talking about last week with, whenever the Jags go up to Nashville, historically not a great vibe. But when the Jags play the Colts at home, even going back to the Peyton Manning days, they've had a lot of success. So it's pretty exciting. There's a serious buzz right now. I feel like I'm seeing on social media, people are, finally starting to talk about the Jags on the national level this season. There was early chatter after that Chiefs win, but then the Jags, of course, kind of went wayward for a second. But right now it's like, wow, this is a monumental home game, probably the biggest one of the season. I mean, really, if you think about it.
And that's saying something, because at the time of that Chiefs visit for Monday Night Football,
that was the biggest game. But this has, very serious playoff implications, right? So, you win this one and you can, continue building that momentum. I mean, maybe by the time you see the Colts again, it might be to clinch the division if things go the right way.
And we've seen the Jags in this spot going into December in the not too distant past too. Not to continue to speak to some negative trends or history for the Jacksonville Jaguars, but just a couple of years ago, Jags were in this kind of spot, and then by the end of December, the season was pretty much on life support. So you don't want that to happen again. So it starts with this matchup on Sunday, Evan. That starts with Jonathan Taylor, right? I mean,
Yeah, of course.
you think about what you got to do against him, the outstanding running back in that run game for the Colts. And I think it's two teams that want to do the same thing to the other team. I think if you're the Colts, you want to slow down Travis Etienne, uh, Tootin, the rest of that run game, and put it more on Trevor Lawrence in that passing game to win the game. Daniel Jones now in Indianapolis. Last couple of weeks, he hasn't been exactly prolific throwing the football,
Nope.
but he's done a better job than he had done the previous couple of weeks in terms of taking care of the ball. And that's kind of the theme for Trevor, too.
Yeah, no, for sure. This is going to be, I think, really all about defense. It could end up being a high scoring game, of course, but it's going to come down to who can force big plays, make a turnover or two on the quarterbacks, and then also simultaneously limit some talented running backs to at least, a fraction of what they typically do. The Jaguars rush defense ranked number one in the NFL still after last weekend, but the Colts are ranked seventh. So it's not like, there's a clear, dichotomy in these two teams. They both have really strong rushing defenses. And you could say that, the Jaguars have done it against, maybe better teams than the Colts have done so far. But at the end of the day, I don't know if the Jaguars have played against a team with a running back like Jonathan Taylor all season. So,
No.
yeah, I mean, he's just a different breed right now. He's been exceptional pretty much every week, except for, a couple key exceptions, like, that Texans game. The Texans actually probably laid out the game plan for the Jaguars to go win this game and how to stop Jonathan Taylor.
Jonathan Taylor in Jacksonville hasn't been as productive in games against the Jaguars as he has been up there in Indianapolis. I mean, he's had a couple of monster games up there, and it's shown up really in the win-loss column in this series since Jonathan Taylor's debut, I think back in 2020. So that's obviously where it starts with the Jaguars defense. And who knows, maybe both these quarterbacks and their legs could be big. Although Daniel Jones dealing with a fractured fibula.
I know that seems
So
like a way more serious injury than
that takes away part of his game. He's not a prolific runner. He's not Anthony Richardson. No one's saying that. But there have been times in the past where he's been able to make some plays with his legs. And we're seeing that with Trevor. And again, even against Tennessee, we saw the design quarterback run, which I'm a big fan of. I'm not a big fan of exposing him to unnecessary hits, or I don't want him taking the Jackson Dart approach to protecting himself, which is doesn't have a shelf life in the National Football League. I'm afraid Jackson Dart's going to find that out in a couple of 3 years if he doesn't kind of change his approach. But it's been beneficial to the Jags. Okay, you're going to run up, you're going to load up on ETN and Tootin and some of those things. Well, we'll get the extra blocker involved. And again, a couple times a game, let Trevor do something with his legs.
Yeah, no, I think right now, especially over the past 2 or 3 weeks, I think Cohen has kind of nailed down the identity of what this offense is supposed to look like. The ins and outs of it, not just, okay, we're going to be run first, right? It's like, okay, well, we're going to get Trevor involved. Now that you got Brenton Strange back, that goes such a long way for both just setting up, having another really talented blocker, but also, I mean, it seems like over the past couple of weeks, like Strange just is wide open. Like it's exciting to see. Of course, you're anticipating a pretty talented Colts defense to adjust and try and limit him. But
yeah, how about the tight end? How about the tight ends in this game? Right?
Yeah, I mean, dude,
Indianapolis definitely invested some capital at that position in the draft, and then Brenton Strange emerging for the Jaguars.
Yeah, I mean, we've been waiting on Strange to come along, but Warren has hit this NFL season like nobody's business. I mean, really one of the most impressive rookie seasons of anybody in the league. Dude is a serious problem. For the Jags, we talked about issues at safety. I'm a little worried about that. I don't necessarily want to see Dewey trying to, keep up with Tyler Warren and trying to, high point passes and stuff. But, you got to do what you got to do. I think at the end of the day, Danny Dimes, as good as he was to start the season, has a mistake or two in him. You got to
And
let
especially
him.
without real mobility, right?
Yeah,
I mean, and this
yeah,
pass rush for the Jags looks like it's kind of finding itself. Now, the Titans are a disaster
right.
in every area, including pass protection. The Colts a good bit better up
Yeah,
front. The challenge is going to be, I think, a good bit better. And plus, you also have to respect Taylor first and foremost. Your priority, your to-do list is going to be such with the run that that's going to help the Colts probably in a couple of ways as far as dealing with protection. And then Trayvon Walker, what's his status for this week to go along with Josh Hines Allen? Still some things to play out there, although it sounded like Jags with some potentially good news at today's practice.
yeah. Trayvon Walker came back, as did Parker Washington, which is exciting to see because Parker Washington's really found a groove for the past few weeks. Yeah, Trayvon getting back on the field, that's a pretty big deal. I mean, really, the Jaguars are inching towards a better bill of health than they've had really all season. There's a lot of guys on the injury list right now, but a lot of them are full practice or playing, or they're,
Mm-hmm.
still on the road to recovery, and they're finally getting to the end of it. So, no, there's plenty of reason for optimism to think that, you can get after Danny Dimes and also still probably, prevent a couple of home run shots from Jonathan Taylor. We talk about pass rush on Daniel Jones. Really, other than like a 3-week stretch, the Colts have kept him really clean this year.
Mm-hmm.
They allowed 7 sacks to the Falcons, 5 to the Steelers, and 3 to Tennessee in like weeks like 3 through 5, 4 through 6 or something. But other than that, I mean, they've only had one game where they allowed two sacks. So, and that was against a pretty talented Rams defense. So, I mean, getting after the quarterback, this offensive line's been really, really good at protecting him. But with that, injury concern, with the lack of mobility, you like to think that, at least on some blitz packages, you can get home, at least hit them. You know what I mean? Like, even if you're not,
Speed him up, even if you
yeah,
don't hit him,
yeah,
and then
you don't
force
want him
some,
comfortable. You can't
yeah,
have him comfortable.
force some potential takeaways that way. And conversely, this Jaguars offensive line has been through it in recent
Yeah,
weeks. As we know, Cole Van Lannon has been just a Swiss Army knife, has done a really nice
everywhere.
job of
Yeah,
stepping in
yes.
pretty much across the board, just about everywhere other than what center, right? So
Yeah, pretty much.
you got to give the veteran sort of sixth offensive lineman a lot of credit for what he's done to this point. But you got to be able to protect Trevor too.
Yeah.
And, obviously you'd love to be able to run the football the way Liam Cohen wants to on a weekly basis. But to your point earlier, it's a Colts run defense that can be problematic and put the Jags in a situation where Trevor, again, keeping him under 30 pass attempts, that's ideal. You just don't want to get him elevated. I will say this, the comfortability, man, with Strange coming back to coincide with the Myers pickup. And if you can get if you can get Parker on the field this week and what he's been for this offense and in the return game, boy, De'Ami Brown, we talked about it. I mean, is that just pretty much over at this point, you think, as long as the other guys stay healthy? Because that was a coach's decision last week, wasn't it?
Yeah.
To have him inactive.
Yeah, that was a healthy scratch. No, I mean, really, I feel like they're just shelving De'Ami Brown in case, yeah, BTJ goes back
Somebody gets
out
hurt.
or
Yeah.
something like that, like just to be safe. Because at the end of the day, there's no real point in cutting him either. I mean, you already spent
Yeah.
the money, right? So,
Yeah.
um, no, it's weird. I did see some rumblings of like Adam Thielen question mark, but I don't think that's really something the Jaguars need right now. Jacoby Myers, man, it's a revelation for Trevor, just to have a receiver that, yeah, he's really good in the intermediate, but we saw it last week, we saw it the
Yeah.
week prior. Dude's got some, like big play ability
He
too.
had an explosive for sure after the catch.
Yeah,
And then he does what he does in the red zone, with the touchdown
and not
catch.
to mention too, at the end of the day, BTJ can have the lackluster season. BTJ threw a very nice block on that
Mm-hmm.
run after catch by
Yeah.
Myers, so you
He
like
was
seeing that.
engaged. Yeah, looked engaged. That's a
So, and
start for
that's
BTJ.
all we need. We just need you to be awake.
Some level of engagement
Yes.
would be nice. I tell you where I'm engaged right now. I'm at Party Girl in
Oh
the
yeah.
Avondale Fairfax area of Duval, and the smells are tremendous in here. Today, the meatloaf sold out.
Oh
the
man.
Ma, the Ma's
Oh,
meatloaf with the twice baked potatoes, sold out. But in that display case just over my shoulder right there, some recently displayed uh, barbecue chicken baked potatoes with fresh cheddar on top
man.
there. You get you a side of sour cream with that, with some green onions,
Woof.
some great soups in there as well. Always the chicken salad is great here at Party Girl, right here at 4205 St. John's Avenue. That's where we're posted up. Again, where Fairfax and Avondale come together at St. John's and Herschel. If you know, you know from back in the 90s, the Eclipse little club
Right over there.
where your boy used to frequent quite a bit over here in this area. Some of my old haunts, Evan, in the pre-Evan days, right here next to Party Girl. So get by and check it out if you haven't already. So Ev, the confidence level in terms of the Jags hosting the Colts this Sunday, where you at with that?
I mean, I feel pretty good. I mean, I just at least about our chances, I don't think this is going to be easy at all. And in fact, I'm not even sure if I want to predict the Jaguars to win, but I would still put myself at like a 7.5. I think the Jaguars are going to at the very least be in this game. Um, And, I also think that while this is one that, between the two matchups that the teams have left, this is the one you really just need to make sure you go in and get a
Gotta
W in.
win at
It's
home.
not the end of the world if you don't win it. So it's just, I don't know. It's a weird one. I would say, yeah, 7.5 out of 10 on the confidence level. What about you?
Uh, I'll go. I'll go 7.
Yeah.
I'll go 7. I think this team really understands who it is right now. Defense playing at a super high level. Different type of challenge this week. I think in the lines of scrimmage, that's the concern I have. Does this thing kind of get Seahawks-ish on the
Yeah.
Jags? Feels like it could be that kind of matchup. We saw what Seattle did here in Jacksonville. But I think the Jaguar defense is going to be up to the task, as we talked about historically against Taylor, against this Indianapolis offense here. It's been good enough. What do you got to go back? You got to go back to Andrew Luck, I think it is, in 2014.
Yeah, I
And the
think so.
Colts winning here in Jacksonville. That's crazy.
That's
Crazy to
super.
think about Andrew Luck just, isn't playing football
Yeah, I
still.
mean, there's a
But
world in which Andrew Luck is the quarterback for the
yeah,
Colts right now. Like, there's
yes.
another universe, like where
Instead of the
he's
GM for Stanford. Yeah.
yeah.
It's
Um,
wild.
no, it's nuts. It's just one of the Jags have basically set themselves up, good or bad, to be a bogey team for Indianapolis, and that's really really big for this weekend. I also wanted to mention, we talked about injuries. I wanted to hit back on it. Doesn't seem like Sauce Gardner's going to play. Um,
No,
pretty
no.
big, pretty big deal. I
Yeah.
mean,
Hmm.
he hasn't quite been the revelation that he was a few years ago, but
Hmm.
I mean, that's a big deal, especially when we were just talking about Jacoby Myers.
Yeah.
Um, you'd like to think that, maybe this is one where, yeah, Trevor actually does shine a little bit. They
Hmm.
kind of put it on his shoulders to start last weekend.
Yeah.
I mean, they
Work
went,
the middle of the field beautifully. That's what I like to see from any quarterback, with confidence and precision, because a lot of bad things can happen in the middle of the field. But you didn't get that sense with him at all last week, which is a little bit unnerving in and of itself,
yeah,
because now we're talking about him stacking another one on top of that.
right,
So, we'll see how that goes. I want the Jags to keep their specialists healthy this week,
yeah,
between Logan Cook and Matisic. You don't want another situation where Devon Hamilton is maybe snapping. I
yeah.
thought at one point they might summon you down from the
I was
seats,
so ready. I was,
go in
I
there
was
and long snap for the
I was,
Jags.
taping up my fingers. I had my eye black on. I was ready to
Had your
go, and
hand
they just
warmers on.
Cohen gave me the no, we're good.
Yeah,
So
yeah, yeah.
um,
Inactive, inactive.
inactive, healthy scratch with Doami. Me and him got some hot chicken after.
Yeah,
Um,
I just think, again, as we talked about earlier, whichever defense can really put it all on the opposing quarterback to go win the game, I like that team's chances. I think the Jags are going to be able to do that enough,
yeah,
and I think Jones, with his health issues, and that makes it a little bit easier task. Um, Cam Little's kicking the ball extremely well again, right?
Yeah,
So I like it if it comes. I think it will come down to that type of situation in
I
the fourth
agree.
quarter. I mean, a lot of NFL games do, but I think specifically this one is going to be in that sort of 20-17 range, 23-20, something like that.
Yeah, that's kind of what I have. I have 27-21. So, kind
Okay.
of a little bit more high scoring, but I think the difference maker is a couple Cam Little field goals. It's interesting though, because, cardiac cats, right? They've been just absolutely insane all year in terms of watching them, both losses and wins. But now, you're talking between the past few weeks with the Chargers and then the Titans game, they put those teams to sleep. Like
Yeah.
it wasn't just like it's not like a blowout as much. It was like you almost like bored the other team into like not.
Methodical take aparts.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I'm wondering if the Jaguars can do that this weekend. If they can, then we might be on the
Oh,
verge of.
hold on. Hold
Yeah.
on if that happens.
Well, I mean, at that point, you're a game ahead. You
Yeah.
might even be thinking about a 2 seed. You might even be whatever.
Home
The
to the
Broncos.
AFC Championship game, baby.
I mean, I will say I was thinking about it yesterday. Like, if when the Jaguars get to the playoffs, historically speaking, they don't get knocked out in the first round ever. Pretty much, like
No,
there's
going
like
back
maybe
to the
two,
early days.
like 2 or 3 different, like 04, I think
Mhm.
they like went and lost
They
in a
beat
wild card.
they beat Pittsburgh, right? One year.
In
We were
'07.
on the family trip watching
Yeah,
that one. I remember that.
2017, past, if you think about it, past 3 playoff visits. 2022, you beat the Chargers
Won in
at home, which,
Pittsburgh a couple times. Yeah.
yeah, 2017 is Pittsburgh on the road. 2007 is Pittsburgh on the road, and then both in 2007 and 2017, you lost to the Patriots. Also, they beat the Bills before that Steelers game in 2017. Forgot about that. So, I mean, they're a team that even if it doesn't end up being a division title, I think it's going to be interesting because I really don't think there's anyone in the AFC that they could play right now that I would be like, oh well, we got screwed on the matchup.
Whip Heroes chiming in here in the show
Yep.
chat. We appreciate it as always. We're live here on Reier on YouTube. Whip Hero says Jags need to get revenge versus the Pats and refs robbing them. There you go.
Miles Jack wasn't down.
He wasn't down.
He
MJ was
wasn't
not
down.
down. He was not
I
down.
think after that game, I spent like 2 hours in the dark in my room. Just
That was
I
rough.
not like no like strong
Yeah.
emotions, just
Yeah.
pure. Just we almost had it.
That close.
But
Yeah.
at the end of the day, like
Almost went to the Super Bowl with Blake Bortles.
yeah,
Starting
dude.
quarterback. How about that?
I mean, it would have been
Wow.
so cool. It would have been so cool.
I mean,
And that's the Eagles.
Trent Dilfer won a Super Bowl.
Yeah, it's fact. Nick Foles balled out in a Super Bowl that the Jaguars could have been in. So
Philly special Nick. Yeah.
that's the thing is like I still think about the fact that if the Jags play that Eagles team, I don't know. I feel like the Jags are very much in that game. But
it's almost like the Pats looked past the Eagles in that Super Bowl to Cancun.
Right.
Like
yeah,
they're
they're
already
like, well, we got this.
They're already at the parade.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But we're getting, I'm getting stars in my eyes, thinking about what can be and what
and that game is how the Jags eventually got Doug Peterson and Nick Foles.
Yes, it's true. That is hilarious to think about. Actually, is that that
pretty much
the butterfly effect. You never know exactly what each thing is going to lead to another. But no, stars in my eyes and whatnot. Thinking about what can be, but they got to focus on this weekend, and I think they are. I think Cohen's the type of coach where he's not going to let them think about anything past Sundays. So
Whip Hero also chiming in with he feels like Trevor's slowly becoming more consistent. He still has some knucklehead moves, however. There's been more consistent tries from him. I want to think you're right, Whip Hero. I'm gonna need to see about 4 or 5 weeks of stacking. And you're right about slowly. This is a 5th-year guy, and you're still kind of waiting on it.
Still kind of patient.
I like that wording though. There, I think you did a very diplomatic job of sort of outlining Trevor's development and where he's at this point. It's been good. I mean, maybe it is really fixing to go into full click for him, especially with this regime. I mean, there should be no misunderstanding at this point, 12 games in, about what the standard is, what the expectations are, what the job entails, what is needed of you. There shouldn't be any lost in translation issues moving forward. And you said it earlier, Evan, maybe that showed up in the form of cleaner football up in Nashville. Maybe that's where we're at with him and Liam in this situation.
Yeah, I think that game is the exact type of game they need from Trevor. I mean, I wouldn't say that typically means that him throwing early like they did, but I think they just saw that the Titans secondary is weak as hell and just decided to attack it. But I mean, if you go look at what he's on pace to do this year, and you
Yeah.
compare it to that 2022 season where he started to look like the first overall pick, the prospect that he's supposed to be, he's not going to match that season as things stand. Like he's, that was 25 touchdowns, 8 interceptions, 4,100 yards. Unless he goes for, I guess, like 300 passing yards a game the rest of the way, he's not cracking 4K yards.
Which is what you don't want him to have to do.
Yeah, you don't want him to do that. And then also, I mean, with 11 interceptions, like, yeah, he was clean last week, but the previous 4 weeks he had 6 interceptions. So, I mean, you start to, it feels like, we have 1 week of Trevor playing solid ball and it's like, oh, he's getting it. And then I just don't know yet. But hey, you go out there on Sunday, you beat the Colts, and he goes for, let's say, 230, 2 touchdowns, no picks.
Yeah,
then
it's the Tannehill method.
If he can do that the rest of the season, then the Jaguars will win the division and they will probably have the 2 seed. Yeah, I would love to see it happen, but that's kind of the only reason why I can't go all in on a Jaguars victory.
Yeah, and Whip also notes that Trevor has been very clutch this season. My answer to that it would be, well, sometimes he's had to be clutch because
of his own mistakes.
Right.
Yeah. I mean, no, don't get twisted.
Look, it's better that he was able to come up big after those mistakes. I mean, obviously that's the preference.
Yeah.
But some of it you just, would like to be cleaner in the lead up to being put in a position where you have to do that. But Whip's right. I mean, he has shown an ability more so probably this year to overcome a lot of that.
That's the thing is, like, I also was impressed by, the last drive or 2 against the Cardinals, but if he doesn't have 4 turnovers before that point, then they're just running the clock out. Like,
and you can make the argument, well, they weren't all totally on him. His Trevor's ardent supporters in this area, which there are many, very many, will be quick to point that out. And it's not inaccurate, but still, if he had 4-3, I think you could point to, as we have. But the positivity is there right now, and that's the best thing for this team, for this city, and for its chances, beginning with the Indianapolis Colts paying a visit to Everbank Stadium on Sunday. Evan, anything else before we get out of here?
No, that's about it. Just excited to see this matchup. It should be good.
Yeah, I think it's going to be all 60 minutes. You're going to get all you want on Sunday, I think, with the Colts and the Jags. With that, for Evan Reier, I'm Travis Reier, thanking you once again, reminding you, Party Girl right here at 4205 St. John's Avenue. If you like baked items, bakery goods, great take-home meals, those type of things, we got you covered right here at Party Girl, where Fairfax and Avondale meet. Till next time. So long, everybody.